Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. We're going to talk about anime, manga, AI translations, ass-mad localizers, and also the state of the industry right now that, ESG firms are apparently buying into all these companies now. They're coming for anime. Get your mind out of the gutter. We're going to talk about this. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, check out the audio edition of Clownfish TV. You can go out to any platform that has podcasts, and we're on it. It is an audio-only version of Clownfish. Maybe you've missed some episodes. You can listen to us on the go. Check out Derez, which is our podcast where we do interviews and we do talk about gaming news. So you can check that out as well. Same thing. Any place you find podcasts, you can find us. We're everywhere. So this is coming from Bounding in the Comics. We actually have a couple stories here, so I have to give them a hat tip nerdigans rating for Bounding in the Comics. English localizers are furious over Japanese publisher Shoga Kukan's decision to use AI translations for light novels. They don't care about the works they're ruining. Well, we're going to talk about that because some of these localizers are bragging about ruining these works, and we've talked about this before, that there are localizers who actually think they are co-authors of a particular work, and they like to interject their hot takes into these works. So this is again coming from Bounding in the Comics. A large number of English language localizers are unhappy with Japanese publishers at Shoga Kukan decision to use AI translation technology to localize a number of their light novel offerings for international readers. Oh no. Set to launch in North America and Canada sometime near the end of 2024, the newly announced light novel app Nollis will offer users access to the publisher's wide library of light novel offerings. I love the titles of these light novels. We have Too Many Losing Heroines. We have was it Friren, Beyond Journey's End? Is that what it is? I haven't watched the show. I haven't read the light novel, so I'm not sure. But it's funny. It's always like, I was a horny teenage slime who got transported to another world, and now I'm a hot teenage girl, and also I like candy. And so they basically tell you, I don't know, they basically tell you like the whole plot of the freaking light novel in the title, and I think it's hilarious. Like, I wish more American comics would do that. Like, I was a nerdy teenager who got bit by a spider, and now I can stick to walls with my fingers, and also I shoot goop out of my wrists. Or something. According to the publisher, Nollis will see more than 400 titles added to its library over the next 2 years. And in order to meet this ambitious quota, they've decided to use the Mantra AI translation engine to help localize their books. Now, look, before we get into a fight of is AI good or bad, it's here to stay. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. And I do believe that in many cases, human translations are better, but there is a tendency, and this has happened time and time and time again, with the localizing community taking liberties with the translations. They actually view themselves as being co-authors of a work. And it's like, look, this isn't 1980 something. This isn't Robotech, right? You're not rewriting the whole story to suit Western audiences. Now people want pretty faithful translations because we're very aware of what the original was like. And if they're not getting a faithful translation from the publisher, then they're going to go out to pirate sites. And honestly, part of the reason that they're using AI now is to get this stuff translated as fast as they can. But I think they're looking at it. They're like, yeah, we don't want localizers interjecting their own politics and Western sensibilities into our Japanese work. And they've come out and said as much. So it said, developed by Japanese tech startup Mantra Company for use on manga and webtoons, rather than just providing a literal translation of words like Google Translate or DeepL, the company's eponymous engine takes story dialogue and panel content into account. So it's supposed to be more accurate. So, you'd have to look into that. I'd have to look into that more. But they said that they do have editor interventions once the translations are produced. Because, you don't want something that's really wonky. But I mean, again, you're talking like one or two people overseeing dozens of titles versus having translators or multiple translators for each title. So it speeds things up. To this end, instead of responding to the impending AI threat by improving the quality of their own localizations, a large number of Western-based Japanese to English localizers, many of whom have themselves boasted about having deliberately inserted their own politics. We'll get out to another story that Nerdigans wrote on that. Their own politics and memes into the works they're responsible for, instead focus their energy on raging against the decision to replace them with AI. Here's Andrew Steiner Hodgson at Otakon. While there are errors in the front and center marketing, I dread to think of what the bulk of it is going to turn out like. This is what disrespect for the medium and your audience looks like, but hey, I'm sure Mantra's shareholders are happy. This is going to be the new normal. And again, a lot of it was hastened by maybe not this guy in particular. I don't know him, but there are people that have been bragging about making changes to Japanese work in video games and manga and anime. And the company is going to look at it and be like, why are we using you? Why are we paying you to do damage? What's the hell you doing? Whoa! That's actually pretty cool. What's the hell you doing? So this is the original tweet here. Yeah, manga alerts. Whoa! Despite multiple cases where localizers have openly boasted about deliberately, in some cases weaponizing mistranslation, like Elden Ring, The Road to Erdtree letterer Greg Deng went as far as to claim this is kind of a minor thing relative to the problem that MTL is inaccurate, but this kind of service is also just strictly worse than piracy. It's worse than piracy. Even if you only consider the business side of things, the idea is flawed. It will get better. I mean, this is why I keep telling people about AI. Again, I'm not defending, egregious cost cutting with AI, but it is going to get better. It's going to get better at art. It's going to get better at writing. And this is the kind of thing that AI is probably going to be the most useful for, kind of repurposing existing content. And I do know that, yes, there is an art to doing a good job with a translation. In some cases, adding a little extra flair to it so it doesn't, it does feel organic in the native language. I know Square, toward the end, whoever did the I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was actually kind of like a legendary localizer, the guy who did like the Vagrant Story localization. And compared to like the early Final Fantasy games, right? He actually did a very good job and added a lot of flair to it and language and whatever. But that is rare. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't happen very often. More often than not, we have a bunch of wannabe writers or wannabe fanfic authors inserting their own politics and hot takes into media. And we've seen this time and time again. Or if they think something's problematic, they try to change it, right? Was it Dragon Maiden? Was that the one that they made some changes to? So they said they're devaluing one of their most popular franchises. Fans would pay to see a proper print version, not a Google Translate. Well, it's not. It's supposedly better. This is they, them support Black trans liberation. Just this past June, they announced that it was one of the fund providers to the Tokyo-based AI startup Mantra, which is focused on AI translation of Japanese manga. These companies know manga makes money. We're going to talk about that. The manga does make money. So this is going to be a double-edged sword because they're going to look for more profit, but they're also getting ESG dollars. So it's going to be but I don't think they're going to give any of that ESG money to Western localizers. Greed drives them for more profits in their pockets, not quality. As long as consumers accept it, it doesn't really matter where it comes from, does it? I mean, that's the truth of it. The truth of it is you could have a game or a comic or a movie that's almost completely generated with AI, or you could have like 5 people overseeing a bot farm and make a piece of content. I hate to use the word content, but a piece of content that a lot of people buy, And shareholders at the companies are just going to look at the profit and they're going to be like, yeah, well, maybe it's not really art, but it made a lot of money. And that's all we care about. And that's the truth. That is the way the world works, sweetie. I'm not saying her or they, them in particular. I'm just saying, just in general, when you have corporations owning all of this stuff, that's how it works. It's how much profit did we make this quarter? I don't care if it's good or not. People are arguing over whether or not, Deadpool and Wolverine is actually a good movie or just, overstuffed cameo fest. Doesn't matter. Made a lot of money. That's all Disney cares about. Made a lot of money. So it is what it is. Here we have another one. Katrina Leadnaukis. Oh God, I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. At least they were honest. They only care about cutting costs. Yeah. Welcome to the world. I hate to break it to you. Not about getting readers good translations. You think the authors of the light novels would want their international fans reading garbled versions of the prose they work so hard on? How disrespectful. So this is the gushing over magical girls localizer. Like any tool, machine translation, AI have their uses, but you don't use a jackhammer to nail painting to the wall. I don't disagree. I actually don't disagree. I think that there are uses for this, and it could be that just the base translation is done with, AI, and then somebody, well, they said they're gonna have an editor kind of go over it, but if the editor's first language is not English, or they're just not a good English speaker, then it's going to get garbled. It is. We've seen piss poor translations, direct from Japan, because the people doing the translation, English is not their first language, and they're not terribly good English speakers. I mean, I'm sure there are Japanese people that speak better English, write better English than I do, but those people are not working on some of these games and manga. I'm just saying. They don't care. They care about money. That's true. But the thing is you've actually made yourselves disposable. This is the thing. When you look at what's going on right now with Genshin, and they're attacking Genshin over the color of the skin of the characters in this fictitious region. Was it Natlin region? And you've got the voice actors, the English voice actors out there attacking MiHoYo, the publisher, for not making the skin dark enough on some of these characters. And you're just the English dub actor. They're going to look at this and be like, yeah, we got AI now. We don't need the headache. Maybe it's not as good, but you're a pain in the ass. And you're actually costing us sales, and you're trying to damage our business. So we will deal with the machine, the imperfect translation or the imperfect dub, over dealing with you. And that's what they're going to look at. And, Japanese, Chinese companies, they're not like US companies. They're just like, yeah, you're a pain in the ass. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down, and, you are disposable. And there are machines waiting. Not only are there other humans waiting to take your job, but there are other machines that can do your job and do them faster and do them much cheaper than you. So you need to just do your damn job and keep your mouth shut. But they're not going to. Of course they're not going to, because now we have social media. So this is another story by Nerdigans. Western Localizer proudly brags about butchering Sentai Filmworks' English localization of 2.5 dimensional seduction. Yeah, so this is why you're being replaced. This is exactly why you're being replaced. Despite the looming threat of being replaced with AI, emboldened Western localizers are not only continuing to deliberately botch Japanese media, but some, such as the localizer behind Sentai Filmworks' English localization of 2.5 dimensional seduction. I feel like that title is way too short. It needs to be way longer. 2.5 dimensional seduction, but I want to get into the 3D realm with my slime girlfriend or something. Oh God, that sounds, I don't know, whatever. It needs a little more oomph. Anyway, they're not afraid to openly boast about their masterpieces on social media. So this is the same person. This is Katrina Leadnaukis. Excited to be working on this one as next competitive cosplayer who's still very much involved with the current competitive cosplay scene. It's so much fun getting to work on a series that takes sexy cosplay serious. I thought that was Mr. Beast at first. That's not. Unsurprisingly, the premiere of the work on 2.5 dimensional seduction soon drew a wave of outrage from audiences, their frustrations peaking due to being yet again denied a faithful translation of a Japanese work. Again, you make yourself very disposable when you brag about all the changes you're making. Because sometimes the Japanese are just unaware of what's going on. Once it gets licensed, they just kind of take their hands off of it, and the licensee does whatever the hell they want to do. And as long as it's selling, that's fine. But when you make a big deal on social media about it, yeah, you're disposable. Rather than even taking a moment to acknowledge fans' concerns, Leonardicus. I can't pronounce their name. I'm sorry. Has instead, like she did with My Life as Anuke-san's dog. Holy fuck! I haven't read or watched any of these. Comes out of the woodwork to brag about her latest masterpiece and weaponize it against fans. He said during the third episode, during a scene when Okumura's childhood friend agrees to cosplay as a fictional character, Malila, and proceeds to ask the otaku for his opinion on the character. Originally seen in the manga's 7th chapter, Okumura proceeds to essentially let his fandom get the best of him and gush about how much he loves her. Of course I do. Oh my God. Is this the original? Of course I do. Of course I do. Okay. So in the localization, the explanation is not only far shorter in length, but also far more crude, in effect replacing the joke of it's genuinely funny because he's so passionate about his interests with one whose premise is essentially it's cringe funny because he's being over dramatic and creepy. So he basically was gushing about the character and having respect for the character to now he's being a creep because he's a dude. Is that what it is? Hell yeah, I do. The protagonist responds in the anime. I love her love rivalry with Liliel and the cute, sexy flirting she does with Ashford. So it's creepy. It's not just like, I really love her because she's awesome. Is that Morgana from Darkstalkers? That's what it looks like. She knows he'll never feel the same. He continues, but still carries a flame for him in her pure heart. Then the localization takes a turn for the worse, as the localizer proceeds to replace the remaining portion of the passionate speech with her signature internet meme and slang influenced fan fiction. She's got a cute figure and a great ass, and a real otaku love a flat-chested lady. Big Tig Biddies would ruin her whole vibe anyway. What the fuck? Tig Biddies would ruin her whole vibe anyway. Big titties would ruin... What the fuck? So he goes, yeah. So yeah, this is like, look, you might think it's funny and that might be funny to you, but yeah, like you want to talk about respecting the original author. This is not what the original author intended for this guy to be a freaking creep. It was just like, no, I actually like this character. Here's why I like this character, you know, and you went from that to like, oh yeah, you know, she's got great ass and damn. I don't want to be your GD sister. She's my waifu. God. Following the release of the episode, they took to Twitter to brag about her overwriting of the series' original script, asking her followers, translation theory hard at work on my subtitles. What the fuck? Wow. Wow. So yeah, I mean, why are you being, why Tig Biddies? Jeez. Yeah. So why are you being replaced? This is exactly why you're being replaced. You're making a case for your own replacement. So let's talk about this. People ask me, and again, it's about in the comics. They've been covering this stuff more. Like I don't think you're going to see this on Anime News Network, but apparently there is concern about DEI and ESG because this particular publisher is getting an infusion of venture capital. Now, this is not the first time. And, you know, they're taking venture capital because they want to get into other markets. They want to get into the West. And in some cases, they just want to grow the company. Blackstone actually bought one of Japan's, or actually did buy Japan's largest e-manga site, $1.7 billion in US dollars. BlackRock dumped 50 million is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but they dumped $50 million into Webtoon. So yeah, I mean, they're looking for profit, but again, this is going to be a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, they might have the DIE or DEI. Yeah, no, it is DIE. They're going to die. They're going to kill these publishers, but they might have the DEI and ESG mandates or whatever. But at the end of the day, they want profit. And, you know, they're not going to put up with Western fan fiction writers overwriting their stuff and costing them potential sales. Now, where the DEI and the ESG pinch might come would actually be on the Japanese side or on the Korean side, where they put the pinch on the publishers over there, and then they get an accurate translation via AI here in the US, but the work is already quote unquote woke or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's already been vetted and run through the gauntlet. But I don't know if it's gonna I don't know. I don't know how bad it's going to get or if it's gonna happen. But we have a lot of people in the anime, video game, manga scene here in the US that definitely lean a certain way politically, and they want to insert that into their work. And I just have to wonder how much longer, you know, Japan's going to put up with it. I don't think it's going to be very long. Judging by this, I don't think it's going to be very long at all. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.